my eyes closed,
Right.
because I was so used to that contract.
Yes.
I knew my blanks that, you know, I needed to fill in, knew the important things, and I was really sure of them. Well, when all this happened in our settlement, and we started working on this new contract. I don't know how many times I went through Bastrop Rose and studying for a class, and it was revised, I mean, they'll even tell you, it was revised so many times. So I think this last revision, they probably waited a good bit of time, getting comments, people's opinions, people's, you know, suggestions and everything in before they started changing a little bit. And I think they put the purchase price in a different spot, because you know, you're looking at the country, you're like, where's the, you know. So, but we'll look at those differences, but. Stick to, because. Maybe you wouldn't, but I don't care if you submitted a contract on a bar napkin. A listing agent is to present all offers.
And so we should be using. You're good, that's all.
Thank you.
We should be using the most updated version.
Yes, I would. Because like I said, that listing agent that is asked you to send the legacy one, has got to present that. And you are feeling more comfortable, confident in using the new one, that's how we're trained. And two, if we feel like there's some stronger, you know, things in it for buyers.
Right.
So and if you guys need physical printouts of this, I'll ask Madison if she can make some copies for us, but I was gonna bring it up on here. Let's see. I wish I could just bring up the email, because they put a lot of good info in just the email, but let's ooh, but it's not on number lock. Ooh. Calculator. Really? Sorry, guys. One, please. Okay. So I'm sure there's an area where it talks about that. I'm hoping that it's just right down here with the forms. Oh, they put a bright green new next to it. That's helpful. Okay, so let's go to the few that they did, which is just a handy thing here. I don't know if you've ever looked at the contract phrases and terms. That's sometimes handy to look at if you are doing an addendum, or you need kind of the words to, and then they redid the post-closing occupancy agreement, buyer's rep, purchase and sell. What else?
So if you have somebody who's looking for.
I think there was another.
Just download that.
Yeah, there's always been a post occupancy form, so I guess like I said, I have not compared like the revisions or the differences. But do you want to bring up and I looked at it briefly and I didn't see
any changes in the buyer's rep? I mean, that stood out to me. So let's look at the, and that's why, and they didn't put a red line version of the buyer's rep. They only did with the purchase and sell contract. And I, for the life of me, I'm scanning both of them with my eyes and I'm not seeing anything different. So let's just look at the purchase and sell contract. Y'all see that okay? And of course, it's not redlined. Hey, Beth? Yeah, do me a favor. Can you want to move forward, Madison Association already? Yeah. Make some copies of this? Yeah, 4. You know, right? Yeah, and you know, I just come to them updated forms. Thank you on the right side. Okay, because 2, I'll.
They've got videos on YouTube as well. I
Well-
watched the videos.
Okay. Are you the only one that's watched the video? Because
See the video.
I was gonna say, I mean, I know it'll take up most of the class, but because we're talking about contracts and contracts has changed. I haven't watched the video yet. I just looked at it myself. It was like, you know, we'll do that in class, but
One for each updated. Some of them are long, some of them aren't.
Okay, so updated forms. Let's go to that. And then I can bring up the red line one that she's printing for me now. And we can go between them. So, you know, this is one that doesn't have things red, but this is what's important is look and see. I just thought we would go through it and see what the big changes are. And then we can also look at the education calendar at Bluegrass Realtors and see when, you know, the next class is that they're going over some of this stuff. If it's, you know, I suggest going, I mean, I go to their class. I suggest going to their contracts class, you know, and then especially if anything has changed or has been updated. But it looks like it says, I was gonna make this bigger, but are y'all okay with this? Might just be my old eyes. Okay, it says if you have legal, okay, that's always been up there. Or tax, so it's just saying consult with an attorney or tax professional if you have questions, because of course we're not going to play lawyer with any of these documents. Purchase price. Oh, she took my copy. They have moved it right here. So I'm glad about that, because I noticed, I mean, as soon as they rolled the other one out, that, you know, that was kind of hard to see, of course. And I guess there's no, I was about to say, way of telling. Whoops. I wonder if on here they've left it where we can see where that was, because what page was it on originally? Purchase price wasn't, oh yeah, it was not on the first. Yeah, maybe second, but I was like, I've never understood that. Anyway, purchase price has changed. The where it's at, property address. Oh yeah, see, it's been moved up a little bit there. Of course, they've changed. Everyone's always complained about the things that they put under, you know, what's to remain with the home. So they've got lighting fixtures. I mean, I just don't see. I mean, what's the difference? Rods, systems, like security systems, doorbell systems, all owned. So it's really, I mean, to me, I can't really tell a whole lot of differences yet, except for moving some things around. And if you want, we can look at the video, but I want to know what you guys want to go over today. I mean, do you want to just take the contract and go through it like we're writing one? I just don't know if you need that again for me or. Yeah,
Or we may find going over it again.
yeah.
The more I go over it, the more I remember.
Excuse me. Where's my water? I'm just gonna go into one of my tests. Excuse me. Oh, the old code. Send us a million times a day. Yeah. Thank you. Of course, I never can remember if I. And sorry, normally I would have had a few minutes to set up and I would have all these sites pulled up and everything that I'm using. So I'm sorry, I'm wasting your time right now. I've got too many of these that are named the same thing. It's weird how they say class and then when I go into it, it's not the one I'm looking for. Okay, so you're writing a contract. You shown the property, where people are excited about it, they want to write a contract. So you've got this area here where you're gonna write your buyer's names. You might just have one buyer. But for the purpose of this contract, I wrote like a husband, wife. I always, just from the get-go, ask them, how does your name appear? Government issued ID, you're gonna bring to closing. Because so many times you can be working with someone and they're Todd Jones. And then you start signing things or getting your closing, well, actually, my name is Michael Todd, whatever, Anyway, I just think from the start, just ask them, hey, what's on your driver's license or passport or, what you're bringing to closing. So sometimes it's okay to put an initial in the middle, but for here, I've got Carl Lewis Cook, Kelly Collins Cook, my name, which will be your name, the buyer's agent, and then your license number. Usually everyone knows their license number, but have you set up a Bluegrass Realtors account where how to find your short ID and stuff like that? Is that
I'll be
too-
taking it.
Okay. And another thing that's kind of, what I'll show you in here is, let's go to our Flex. Log in. Sorry, I have to log in something again. But I just want to show you how, it is. Oh, there I am. I don't know how to put this password in without everyone seeing it, so I'll have to. They told me this last time. Oh no, there it went. So a really good area to look for things. I go over here to the top left in the menu. And I'll go to office/member. And this is where you can find everyone, find all the brokerages, all the agents. So you can hit member. And not any other Deondras. So when you get here to this point, of course, your license number is here. That's my broker's license number. And it just recently changed. Well, 2 years ago when I became a broker, it changed after I'd, knew my other one by heart for a million years. And then your short ID, mine is 11007. Your short ID is probably part of your login to get into. So like Imagine Doc and your short ID. But so there's two different numbers there. Your license number here and your short ID. On old contracts, we used to use the office ID. But okay, so getting back to that, so you're going to put your name here, your license number, your cell number, your email. Our brokerage, some of these in .loop are already pre-filled for you, but KW is fine. Instead of typing out Keller Williams, KW Commonwealth. And again, here in this spot, I think everyone has gotten used to using Bo's license number, which is fine, but there's also a brokerage number. So you can use either. Our address here. And then I was using Renee at the time as the seller's agent. Okay. And in this part, a lot of people go, well, I'm not going to fill out that part. So seller's agent can fill out that part. I really like to, when I receive a contract on my listings, I like to see everything as much as possible filled out. You kind of get a feeling straight off from that person. Wow, look how detail oriented they are and information and everything. And I just don't like to see when people leave this blank. Of course, you're not putting their seller's names, but so the listing agent is Renee Tusher. The way I just showed you, I looked up her license number, and see all their info's there. You can just copy and paste. Just copy and paste their email, their phone number. You can put, it doesn't matter. You can put their cell or the office number. So you've got 1 through 12 filled out. Easy. So property address, you see here, but it's just in a different place. Property address, 456 Main Street, Lexington, Kentucky, 40505. It's my made up address for this. It's in Fayette County. Have you had experience of going to the PPA? Okay. So where we find our any information, deed books, the parcel number, about the property is you go into that county's PVA, which this is Fayette County.
Does the flex down here, does it not show you guys that? Like we use flex in Kentucky, and it's like in the listing.
Oh, the listing, yeah, if you want to just go by what the listing is, just put in there, but I always like to kind of confirm too. Yeah.
Just wondering, like ours connects or whatever to the.
Oh, yes. I just want to show, see. But what I'm thinking is anyone can.
But I'm saying that I put the PDA on the listing.
I think we'll just have to go to our menu and look at,
Like if you go to like, this is how I do, but I don't know if your guys' flex is the same as ours, but like if you go to quick search.
oops.
And then I don't know,
Yeah, it's somewhere,
what's a
like
neighborhood around here?
crap, I always go,
Oh, wait. But you've got a list there, if you go to like lists. On the right hand, like just look at those listings. And then you just pull any of them, like you can get any of them. Then ours is like under more.
yeah, list
Yeah.
track and RPR.
Is that how it works for you guys?
But I know that I've, accessed the, PVA through here, but let me see something real quick. Property. Otherwise, I am gonna just have to, log in, I guess, to my. Oh, there I am. See, that's why I brought all my. Okay, so when we're searching 456 Main. Well, I'm just not on it today. What did I put in here? 456 Main. I know there is one. This is weird. Okay, let me see if I did it correctly last time when we're doing it. Let me take this and search. That's not the way I wanted to do it because we're trying to figure out parcel, but East High Street. That's because I made up the. Okay, so normally you would search, and like I said, we can go back to 456 East High, 456 East High, 456 East High Street. So you search your address within the PVA. And your parcel number is going to be right up here at the top. Parcel number. And then it gives you other helpful information, the tax rate. If you were listing it, you'd put that in there. And you can look at maps and everything, but for this reason, we were just going to find the PV, the parcel number. So anyway, why does this keep, I think. Okay, so you have the info about your property address, and then all attached improvements and fixtures, if applicable, which are acknowledged by all parties not to be personal property and include without limitation the following. So you've gone to see the property and there's window treatments, there's appliances, there are all sorts of things in the plate that you want to remain in the home. You don't want to go back to look at it a second time or your final walkthrough and they've switched out a really nice stainless steel fridge for the one they had in the garage or whatever. And believe me, it happens. You might think, well, we saw it. I'm gonna take the things that we saw or whatever, but just always think that but the worst can happen. I mean, for your clients' sake. So I just ticked some here: lighting fixtures, ceiling fans, window treatments, blind shades, appliances, other items to remain. You can storage shed in the back. Maybe they put a swing up when they first, backyard, play set that they put up, and now their kids are grown or whatever, and they're like, if you don't want that, you can have it or whatever. Then it gets to, those are items that, are to remain. The next line is shall remove the following fixtures prior to delivery of possession. And this is where, and I always stress this, but it's, I think, one of the most important things is communication with the listing agent. That is going to be the person on the other side of the transaction that you're going to be working with for at least 30 days. But two, in a market where they're getting multiple offers, that's why I was saying fill it out as complete, precise as possible. Because I mean, that's sometimes if you haven't worked with that other agent or whatever, it's your first impression of that agent is how they deliver the offer to you. Do they deliver it in pieces? Do you have to ask for proof of funds? Do you have to? So when you submit your offer, you're going to be submitting everything at once, and you're going to be like, this person's organized. I always pick up the phone and I call the listing agent, and especially if you've already seen, you might have booked it through showing time, you might not have talked to her yet, and went and saw the property, but now you know you want to write an offer. So phone, no text, whatever, phone the listing agent, introduce yourself. Hey, my clients viewed the property at noon today. I'm writing an offer, and get to know what they're looking for in an offer. They might, every one situation was different. The sellers might be like, well, gosh, we don't want to sell it too fast because I'm not supposed to start that job in Colorado for another 45 days. And usually everyone thinks, I mean, you're looking for fast close. A lot of people that I've worked with that are buyers before, and they're like, cash. They don't have to wait for, I've got cash, tell them to close in 7 days. Well, maybe they don't want to do that fast. Maybe they need time in the home. Or you're gonna be looking at that post. But so yeah, then you can gauge, hey, these people are looking to get out fast. They're cool with 30, 45 day closing. And then also, hey, is there anything they might have, the listing agent might have put in remarks that and I just use this for the chandelier in the dining room is a family heirloom, that's we're taking, or might be another fixture or something in the house. But then hey, they're not gonna have, I'm not gonna send this offer over. And like I said, they might be looking at multiple offers and have to be asked, hey, your offer looks good, we're considering it, but we want the chandelier. Oh my gosh, my client fell in love with that. We didn't know that. And then they see it here when the listing agent is going over with their client the offer. They're like, oh, they put dining room chandelier in there. It's nice. They already know that. They're fine with that. It's in the contract already. So like I said, that might sound like little things, but And then you can ask questions, always before you call that listing agent to kind of find out, you'll have your bullet points in front of you. Like, find out what you're looking for in a closing date. Find out if there's any things that are important to them to remain in the home. This is another thing here as well. Some places, I've dealt with like a lot of farms that or have propane tanks or something. This is one, the house may not have a propane tank, but if it does, this is something to ask. Does it convey? Is it going to be removed? Or do your people lease it and they can just leave it and you take over, we deal with a third party and take over leasing it and it just stays. So there's 3 choices there with a propane tank. Purchase price. See, it's on this first page, but okay, they put it up higher now. Yep. They've put it right under, which is where it should be. The new revised contract is right under all the info that we just put up there, right under 12. But purchase price, we're going to offer $485,500. That's what my buyers are comfortable with. That's what they want to offer. $2,500 is what they would like to put earnest money. Escrow holder, Viridian title. If your buyer is good with, and we have a disclosure that we make work with companies that are affiliated with us. It's another thing that we do. It doesn't go to the listing agent, of course, but another thing we do with our buyer and seller clients is that disclosure, business disclosure. But anyway, Viridian title is our in-house people. You can put KW Commonwealth there, but Viridian title will do. This is just if you're asking the seller to pay any closing costs. You might have already found out for your buyer that it's going to cost X. Even if you didn't introduce your buyer to their mortgage officer or whatever, maybe they came to you and they were like, hey, we're ready to go. We're already working with someone. Well, you either introduce them to a loan officer if you want to use home funding from you, say Gannon or Dana Clayton here. But if they come to you and they're like, oh, we're already working with our bank, we've done things with them before, Joe Smith. So great. Let me call Joe. And he's gonna let you know, yeah, I have them in a pre-qualified situation, but if you guys are going out to look at homes, let's narrow this to get a pre-approval of what they can afford. And I don't care what kind of letter they send you. Like if the loan officer sends you that your clients can buy a home up to $550, and you're writing this offer for $485,500, whatever you're writing it for, I would call the loan officer and say, hey, give me the address, give me some info, because more than likely, if this is accepted, you're going to need this info anyway. But we're writing an offer for that home for $485,500. Can you change your letter to that amount? I do that.
That's close.
Yeah.
I've seen it where they've been like, this client is approved to purchase the home at 45 Coconut Drive, or, whatever. They don't list the price, they say approved to purchase, or so it's like if it goes up or it goes down, or there's some negotiation that happens, you'll have to get another one to upload to the loop. Is that
Right, and that's, I mean, if you're, I don't know, if you're, there I go. Pretty confident that that's gonna be the house, that they can put the address on there. I just kind of like to show them that, oh, she didn't get this just like real quickly, they're pre-approved, whatever, but I just don't like to put what they're actually pre-approved for, if you're gonna make an offer that's less than that.
right?
Because then not a lot of thinking to it. Then the then the sellers were like, hey, what? Showed us the offer, says they can afford to buy them. You know, we're sticking to this price, you know, they can pay above this price. So,
We're not paying for the realtor's fee.
yeah.
You guys can afford it.
So yeah, that's why I say just pick up the phone to the loan officer. I mean, I've had to do this on Saturday or Sunday. A couple loan officers I'll work with, they don't mind it all. Saturday or Sunday, oh, let me go to the computer real quick and all they do is change the amount and send it back to you for the purpose of this contract. If it doesn't get accepted, or your buyers, you know, end up taking an offer in another home, then of course that amount might change, whatever. But I like for that to be on the proof of funds. If you're buying with cash, proof of funds. I've had a lot of cash, buyers, and they're not always investment buyers, but a good many of mine have been investment, buyers. And they buy with cash, they send me a copy of, a bank statement showing money in there.
And that
They,
works.
and they might even move some of it out. You know, if it's like a crazy amount. But anyway, they show that they've got at least that amount in their account, and they just take a black marker, will be taken, you know, and mark through the account
Just
number,
redact
you know,
it.
account information or whatever, but it shows them, oh, from Barclays Bank or Traditional Bank or whatever, they have proof. So I don't care if it's a cash deal or, it's gonna have a loan, proof of funds is to be sent with the offer. You don't, like I said, you don't want that listing agent calling saying, can you send me a fund? Can you send me a copy of the escrow fund? You know, whether it's a copy of a check or a copy of a, they've done it online and it shows. Yeah, you want all those things. The offer to purchase, I'm kind of skipping around here, but since I'm telling you the things that should go, the first should go is offer to purchase on contract with proof of funds, the seller's disclosure signed by your buyers. What else? I'll think of it if I'll think of any more, but so, okay, that's the financial stuff. Of course, at the top of every page of this 50-page contract. Always make sure your property address is in the top left corner and your contract number. Oh, I didn't tell you, with contract number, what I like to put there, or what, Carl Williams, what Bo likes to see there, is, the street number. We're doing 456 Main, so I put 456 dash my short ID. So again, when we're talking about license number versus short ID, take your short ID off the, of course, it's kicked me out now of my, okay. Your short ID, right here before you even click into all the further information, your short ID. So street number dash, I used to put, because believe it or not, you will be in this business long enough where you'll have another one that starts with the same number. So you can put 456, like say it was Main Street 456 M dash, or you know, that's.
Does that happen often?
If it's Cardinal Street 456 C dash your short ID, but as long as it's a street number, I mean, you don't know. I mean, it's kind of strange, you know, how you'll come across like a property you might,
I've noticed that even just searching in the MLS, when you know, I
Yeah.
find something expected to just automatically auto-populate.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah, you start putting 1207 and it's like, oh, what's your street address? Oh. So that's why, and I was taught from the beginning to put. Thank you, you know, to put the first initial of the street, that's fine. But, so that's your contract number. Mhm.
Making sure they're not maybe when you make the offer.
Yeah.
So I got the offer of seller's disclosure. I guess after they accept the offer and make the escrow payment, send that to them.
Okay.
The receipt.
Thank you. I said that, but I didn't say it when I was trying to number the purchase and sale contract. A copy of your earnest money that you put on, there's 2,500, I don't see a check. In the memo, I always tell my clients to make it out to us or Viridian.
Or they get it on
Yeah,
the website.
and then we have somewhere on our website where you can just go. It's a lot of, it's funny because, you might have over, people you work with that still have that check, still like wanna write checks. Hey, it's perfectly fine. And I'll have them, like I said, write it out to, KW Commonwealth or Viridian. And put in the memo field the address of the property. And then put your amount on it, make a copy of that. Another, this sounds like little things, but it's things that when no one told me, that I ran into and I was like, oh, Dot Loop does not take PDFs. Does not take JPEGs, only takes PDFs. So, but it's so easy. If you go free JPEG to PDF converter, they pop up. So if they send out here, if they send you a copy, and I'll tell them, if they're writing a check and they're not with me, take a copy, take a picture of your check, send it to me. And then I convert it, send it on an email, convert it to a PDF, upload it into your command, your Outlook. But
You automatically send in
the
pre-approval letter?
yes,
See, my seller didn't ask for that. The agent did,
But-
so I didn't know.
but
that
don't-
was-
but don't wait for them.
I know, I
They
just
just-
didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you go on and send that when you make the offer,
Yes.
okay.
Because if I was the listing agent and I got your offer and boy, that price looks good, that's proof of funds. So it's like they can all say that they're gonna get a VA, FHA, conventional loan and it's gonna be for this or whatever, but who told them that? I wanna see the proof. So I'm saying whether it's a loan or cash. Cash is gonna be proof of a bank account with a, or it's gonna be your pre-approval letter. So yeah, your purchase sale contract, copy of the earnest money, whether it's through online, digital, or a check. Pre-approval and a seller's disclosure. They got me anything, so I'm not bringing this on, I'll do that. And when you said, okay. Then when you get all those things ready, you got everything filled in, when you look it over and you know it's ready to go. Then that listing agent that you've already spoke to and started that relationship with, started the communication with, then I text before. And I've said, because she knows you're working on offer. And I've said, sending offer via Dotloop. Thank you for your client's consideration of my client's offer or whatever, just something nice. So then you're documenting that, and they're looking at their phone, oh, great. You don't just send it and go, well, let's check their email later and see if it's an offer over. You keep that communication.
Can you send in that memo, bullet points of the highlights of your offer of.
Yeah, we talked about that before. I can't remember what, if it was in one of my classes or somebody brought it up. In mine or another class. But yeah, someone was saying the other day that they like to spell it all out. And you can do that if you feel like, but I kind of. Two ways to look at that. You can do that because it makes it easier for them, but agents that are seasoned agents, their eyes go to all those things. Their eyes go to the purchase price,
Yeah.
Closing date, how they're buying, if it's
Yeah.
cash or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you can, you can email, those, the important bullet points.
And that's helping them out, showing them that you're, you know, again, being detail oriented and putting it out there for them. And then you could even, you know, say, hey, just shot you an email,
Yeah,
you know, and look for the offers coming via document. Another thing that, and like I said, I should have this more organized in my thinking, but let's see, what was I gonna say about the closing date? Something about, probably we're gonna get to it, but okay, so right here, for the purpose of this, it's a loan, it's not cash. So we've got you're gonna tick financing contingency. If it's a mortgage. If you have any other contingencies, if you've taken on a buyer that also has a home to sell, or they've got something that's gonna be a contingency to this contract. You would put, you know, you've got contingency form number 1, you might only have 1, but you could have 3, you know, but 1, and you could put buyer has property to sell. And then, of course, that's another, you know, form that you have to fill out explaining, you know, and always put the address. You already have it listed with the MLS number. It's not listed yet. You know, you could say will be listed, you know, upon 72 hours of an accepted offer, and I will give you an MLS number when it is, you know.
Are those contingency forms found within Dotwood, or can you make that up like a doc?
Yeah, they are. There is a general addendum or general contingency form. I'll go back out and I'll show you what that form is, where you can find it. So if this contract is contingent on financing, select 1. So again, for this purpose, we're going to say this is a conventional loan, and we've already determined 485.5 and with earnest money. Your mortgage officer has told you that I'm gonna be able to lock in a 6.5%, 6.5% interest rate for your clients. Well, don't put exactly what I'm saying, put a little above. Not to exceed 7, let's see, down payment not less than, okay, so you're gonna take your loan amount. Okay, obviously they've decided to put 10% down for down payment. So take your purchase price, subtract out your down payment and your escrow, and you'll get your loan amount there. Everybody clear on that? Okay, this is where this is wrong. I don't know. I even had to change that on something else. Let's see. This contract is contingent on financing or appraisal. The buyer shall order the appraisal no later than. Okay, with the appraisal, what I suggest doing is getting through your due diligence period. If you've put, I don't care if you've put 10, 12, 14, whatever days for due diligence. And that's when you're gonna explain to your, already explained, hey, when we get a offer accepted, this is what we do next. But we're gonna call a home inspector, get them out ASAP in most cases. Do you also, and a pest/termite inspector, you can ask them if they would also like to do radon. If it's septic, you might want to do a septic inspection. All these are, but during your due diligence period, any inspections that your client feels like they want to, you know, check out and do is going to be done during this due diligence period. So what I like to do is say something does go wrong during this due diligence period where you inspector comes back with a report and there's some major things. if anything were to happen where this contract, you don't get to the closing table because of something during that time. The reason why I put a couple days out for appraisal is that you don't want your clients to take an appraisal. And then they end up not buying a home.
So you put the
Yeah.
appraisal date a few days
So-
after your diligence.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the safer way to do it, is to put it maybe 48 hours out. And it's really not, it's the buyer shall order, not that the appraisal should be done. But the buyer shall order the appraisal no later than 16 days from the effective date, which, you know, the effective date is when everybody signed it, it's next week. But I don't really think that this, I mean, usually if I'm on the listing side and we get under contract and they're doing their due diligence or whatever, and if I have any communication with the other agent at that time, you know, I might say, hey, how are things looking? Have you ordered the appraisal yet? You know, just keep that line of communication open. But you know that you're talking to your mortgage officer and keeping them in the loop. And it's kind of like, hey, I'll let you know when we get the inspections done and give you the thumbs up to send the appraiser out, you know?
Does the bank? Or do the purchasers order one?
Yeah, the bank. I mean, if you were paying in cash, and you still wanted to get an appraisal, then you know, as your buyer's representative, you'd help them, you know, arrange it. I've done it before. I've done it on the listing side. When we come up with a range, you know, I suggest
Yeah,
this is a good listing price or whatever. Well, let's just get
yeah, why not?
you know, spend a few $100s to not get hit with. You're under contract and it doesn't, you're under contract, you love that price that they sent, 485.5. And then your appraisal comes out back 465.
Right.
Then you're like, might still get to the closing table, but then you're back negotiating, which this is. A contract that's all it is. Negotiate everything along the way is negotiation, they negotiate. See you though. Good to see you though. So where was I at that? So yeah, even if it's what was I saying? Yeah, even if it's cash. You know, your cash buyer might say, yeah, I don't mind, you know, getting an appraisal because I think I might have, you know, I don't want to pay for this or whatever. Then, too, and sometimes they even put it in marketing remarks, recent appraisal done, you know. A lot of people, I mean, it's really inspection reports, and appraisals really aren't anyone else's business, it's the person that paid for it's business. But it's also their prerogative to share. So I've been in situations before where they're like, there's no possible way that, well, we had an appraised prior to this thing. And I'll ask my seller if they are willing to share that with you. Well, great, you know, sometimes you even. There's situations on either side that you might, hey, can you share that inspection report with me?
Right.
You know, no, my, you know, buyer did that, they don't. But if you're sending an inspection form, you know, with repairs, especially if you've got a lot of them on there, it's handy for them to see pictures and to see. Screenshots. Yes, sometimes I haven't, right, sometimes I haven't sent the whole inspection report, but I look at the things I'm listing on there, asking them to fix. And for them to understand, you know, it was those 4 shingles on the left back side of the house, you know. It's good to, you know, include pictures. Or your client might just go, share the whole inspection report with them.
Right.
You know, your buyer might say, you know, we're asking for, you know, good many things, 6+ things or something. They're probably going, oh, that's crazy. That the inspector didn't find that or whatever, you know, the listing, the sellers are saying that. So if you're asking for those things and they're him hauling around, you know, like, no, we won't do that, and then I don't believe that, and well, my buyer said they're more than, well, you know, more than willing to share the inspection report with you.
Then as the seller, then once we have that, if the sale goes
I
through,
know what you're gonna say.
you have to disclose.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
information,
So a
right?
lot of, a lot of sellers don't wanna go there, because of course, if anything is found out through an inspection. And then you have knowledge of it,
Mhm.
gotta disclose it, you might have to, you know, if you've gotta put it back on the market
Mhm.
after it's been pending. With this offer.
As the agent
And
too,
they
for that
found,
happen.
you know, foundation problem,
Yeah.
here's the base, they found a leak or whatever. You have got to have your client redo the search, so.
Yeah.
You know that you asked to see that inspection report.
Yeah.
Well, now you have knowledge of it, so we need to redo
Right.
seller's disclosure.
And so do I, as your listing agent, now have a knowledge of that, and I'm not, you know,
Yeah.
I'm bound to be ethical and.
So that's good,
so-
Yeah, I knew exactly what you were gonna.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I mean, we're really getting past like the main parts, and the rest of it's definition and glossaries, you know, glossary and defines all these things
Yeah.
more like a lawyer instead of the way I talk. But see how you can like spend time on each part. It might sound like, oh, that's simple, fill out the info on the top, you know, the purchase price, know the earnest money or whatever. But there's things that open up a can of worms with each little thing that you do. That's why I'm saying, you know, just have a great communication with that other agent. And they're gonna remember, I mean, I remember, I still to this day, if I see an agent that we had a great, you know, smooth, you know, closing with, or we both ran into some problems with our clients on either, and we're friends now, we're like, man, I hope we get to do another transaction. You want that other agent to be saying that about you. You don't want them to finish with you and leave the closing table. Ah, agent is,
A nightmare.
you know, and I hope I never do a transaction with them anymore. And then when their next listing or whenever they list something and they get an offer, oh God, it's from Deondra. You know?
Yeah, like that, if you have a
Yeah.
rapport in your.
Exactly. And they see that and go, oh man, I'd love to work with Deondra again. And I know she's gonna have everything laid out for me and blah, blah, blah. I mean, they don't just leave their clients go.
No.
So, but they, you know, can say that. They can say if they're looking at a couple and they're all, you know, they're kind of similar, there's different things. You know, I've said before to a seller, you know,
They're all great offers,
I've
I've
worked-
worked with that person.
I've worked with that person before, and we got to closing smoothly, they're professional, they're
Yeah.
not,
you know.
They're honest.
Yep.
Making it happen.
So, yep, that's, you want to keep a good reputation. So we're now down here to, you got your due diligence period, and that's only to be checked if they've waived everything, all inspections. Closing date, again, another area that, you know, are you trying to close in 15 days, 30 days, 45 days? So, and then that's what was one of the points that you've already asked on that first phone call to the listing agent. Hey, I'm about to write an offer. I just had a few questions for you. Is what are your sellers looking for in a closing date? I mean, I know my buyer situation and stuff, but what are your sellers looking for? So got your closing date. And then again, and the closing shall occur no sooner than or no later than. I've seen that kind of crazy. I mean, that's to be used if you just know, okay, we've got to sell their house and that's not gonna happen before 30 days, and we've got to do this, and we got to do that. Most of the time, and I hate saying most of the time, you're just gonna fill out a day. But you're gonna use this if there's contingencies, there's other things that are you gotta take into account, and buyer broker commission. That's us. Put your percent. You can also put, let's see, I mean, not many people do a flat fee, but I'm not gonna tell, you know, buyer broker commission, I've got 3% in there. Most of the time, the deed is delivered at closing, but if it's a special warranty deed, which you'd be told by, which case the special warranty deed, you'll check there. That occasionally happens. I don't think it's happened in all my years of, sometimes when you're dealing with, 300-acre farms or something like that, you might see something that you would have to take that for, or, I mean, not just farms, but I've never had to. This again is of the essence. All dates, times, and deadlines for the performance of any obligation herein except for closing, unless checked, are of the essence and binding. So they check there if closing date is also of the essence and binding. I mean, that gives it gives both parties, but it gives the seller a way to, and I don't like this, because if you're negotiating, all of you are working towards, did I put a closing date in here just for? Yeah, I put the 1st of December. Everyone knows this is we used to say in the old contract, the target, and always make sure your closing date is Monday through Friday. If something happens and say that's a Friday and they're like, oh my gosh, we're still waiting for this to come in, or we're gonna have to move this to Monday afternoon, whatever. Most of the time, one of the parties is gonna be, well, I'm done, I'm done. But that's just saying if everyone's holding each other to time is of the essence, So, again, this is just like with the contingency area. If you're putting in additional terms or whatever, you're going to use an addenda, and I'll show you. You might know the contingency forms and the addenda are just
Not seen
blank forms.
Yeah, I've not used them.
Okay, I'll show you a copy of them, and they're in your dot loop.
Okay.
Which when I say dot loop, I mean via command.
Okay. Yeah,
Dot
okay.
loop, but
And then would you say also like that the post office be closing or post office?
Again, top of the page, always your property address and contract number. Expiration, this is when you would like it accepted by, or you're giving them to accept it by. And if you talk to her, and again, this, a lot of times depends on the market. When we were receiving, I, for a seller, have put probably right under 30 offers in a spreadsheet with the bullet points that we're talking about. I mean, when we narrow it down, we'll look at the whole, contract, but I'll put, purchase price,
Right.
escrow, financing, closing date. If there's any weird anything like that. I've had to use an Excel spreadsheet. Meet at a restaurant, with my clients, and they're like, oh my gosh. Well, I put the ones at the top, and then the bullet, pointed it for you. But, so if you call that list, when you're on the phone with the listing agent, this is another question, is, especially if it's multiple offers, maybe it's not only been on the market for 24 days, and they're like, and we're having an open house this weekend, that's why we put it on Thursday or Friday. Will you tell me, now, when it was crazy market, when you just knew anything that came on would be sold within however many hours, and 30 offers. Of course, you want your answer. We're sending this to them at noon. Can they look at this and let us know by 7 o'clock tonight or whatever? But the agent might say, hey, we're gonna go ahead and let that open house happen. I've already got, 20 showings of showing time over the next 48 hours. So we're looking at all offers at 6 p.m. on Monday night.
Ties to that.
Yeah.
6 p.m.
But again, here, that will depend, how much time you give them. Most of the time, like right now, like I said, it would still depend on my clients. If I was getting an offer written up at 1 PM, I'd give them until 8 p.m. tonight. mean, there's nothing wrong with giving them until, you know, tomorrow, but like I said, you're gonna have a better idea of what to make that date and time when you get the fill from the listing agent. And that, and like I said, not that I'm just going over this because it's not important, but this just goes into real lawyer jargon or, you know, what this all means, which is very important to the, you know, and if you're working with the clients, some clients, they're just like, well, son, you know, you told me what we're all, you know, where do I sign? And then they look at this later or whatever. Some, you know, those some that want you to go through everything, you know, which is fine. You'll just, you know, kind of go through reading it with them and explaining things. See, financing contingency, appraisal contingency. And I tried to explain those, but like I said, my language is not exactly what's in here, of course, in layman terms, I guess I should say. And of course, your buyers are gonna initial bottom of every page on the left. Trying to get to, because there's one other area in case it's FHA or VA. I'm kind of wondering if it might have changed in this, but they usually shade it right here at line 490, number 26. If this is a FHA or VH loan, you would put the purchase price right here. And then your buyer would sign, and then if they accept the offer, they'll sign as well that they understand it's the FHA or VA financing. And then you've got your buyers. You're about to send it over, and today is October 29th at 1 p.m. You send it for their signature. And then you wait because you will either get it back. Whoops. My goodness. You either get it back with the seller accepted or rejected or a counter. And then you'd have to respond if.
That's nice, we didn't have that. It's just they signed it, accepted it, or your crickets, that you call and say, hey, what's going on?
Right.
You don't hear back.
Yeah.
You assume we didn't get it.
It's like, yeah, I'd like to know, has my offer been presented? Has it been, you know, if it's been rejected,
Why?
you know, a lot of times people would just say, no, I'm sorry, you know, give another offer, whatever. But at least this is giving someone something back, you know, so you can show your clients, you know, well, what, you know,
Right.
not say anything or, you know,
Right.
what. So, yeah.
That's a good- I like, it's a good feature.
So like I said, you know, sorry for going into, I mean, you've probably heard a
like
lot of
it.
stuff that I said, but
I
do you have
like
any
it too.
questions or anything that I might have skipped over too fast or didn't go into?
That's very helpful.
And like I said, just from looking, you know, I'm gonna watch, and I would suggest you guys too, go back to that. I wanna say it was like, March 9th or whatever, it was like a week, 10 days ago. Go back to that email they sent.
Okay.
And you can go on, you can either click on their links or go on Bluegrass Realtors, and they have a video of the buyer's rep. And I'm gonna watch that because I'm like, I don't see anything. And this one as well, they might give you better info than I did, or just talk about where they've moved stuff or whatever. And I always suggest, you know, I need to do the same, I haven't been here in a while, but Bluegrass Realtors, always look at their education schedule. And it doesn't matter, like say if you only, I only need 6 hours for, you know, 3 of those being in law, I'll do it in December.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of us do that.
Yeah.
But I like to look at the schedule, the calendar.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, you know, I'm at home, I'm like, and I just look at it and go, oh,
That's interesting.
I want that instructor and that subject. Yeah, I'd like to learn more about that. So they have a good education. Of course, you're a member of Bluegrass Realtors, so it's not gonna cost you anything. But yeah, always look at that education calendar. I mean, I've had years where I have done my 6 and shows, yes, you complete your education. But I've had years where a whole lot more hours.
Yeah.
I didn't need but 6, but there were things that I wanted to learn, things I wanted to know. And then of course also there's designations, if you want to become an accredited buyer's representative at ABR. Or you wanna get your GRI, which is, part of the Railroad Real Estate Institute. So if you want designations, you want those letters up your name, there's a lot of those to look into, but, anyway, let's see, what else? But yeah, that's all. And then, like I said, it's kind of, when I do my next contracts, class, I kind of like to, maybe I'll put something out and ask people if they want, but I kind of see, I mean, I don't know, maybe one day I'll look up and there's 30 people in here. But most of the time, it's a handful of people and I can kind of go, oh, you were in my last class, or you might, I don't wanna waste your time, or you might be like twiddling your thumbs going, are we talking about this?
Right.
I want to hear from you guys about what you wanna hear. I mean, I can sit here and just start going through a document or a contract, let's look at everything we need for a seller. Let's look at everything we need for a buyer, and we can just go straight through stuff like that. But like I said, I don't want anyone to think, well, she's repeating herself. And I would rather you guys lead the class by saying, hey, if you don't mind, can we go, over the buyer's draft first thing?
Right.
Or the exclusive right to sell, or whatever you might have been bothered with, questions you're unsure about. I mean, that's what I'm here for, is to try and help you with knowing these documents, knowing how to fill them in. I mean, I get those phone calls too, late at night, early in the morning, questions, which is fine too, but in this class, I think, the best way to look at it is, what do you guys need? I can sit here and talk about these documents a lot, but you might have already, like, say, you may not have had a transaction. But if you've had one or two or whatever, and wow, different things happen with that one, different things happen with this one. Now I want to go into Deondra's class and ask her about something that
Yeah.
I had a problem with, whether it was, what I'm saying, in due diligence period, or, when this happened and that happened.
Yeah, that's great.
Something I might have filled out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the purpose of me being here, is not just to, go over, I wanna know what you guys need to know or have questions about, so.
What might be kind of helpful in the next one, as in, just a thought, is
Yes,
maybe
let's-
come up with a couple of scenarios, right, and pass them around. And then like, okay, so this is you're the listing agent, or you're the buyer's agent, this is the offer
Right, kind of roll
that your buyer wants to submit. Please fill this out, or fill out sections, whichever ones you think are most important, 1 through 5. As you would if you were working with your buyer, right, and then we fill it out.
Yeah,
And we're like, oh, and then maybe we like share it with our neighbor, or we share, we talk about the things that we have.
and it's so funny, anytime, like, I'm big about, having a mixer, getting people together or whatever, that are in our business, and, but it's so funny, anytime you get in a room with other realtors, and it's interesting, someone could have been in a lot longer than you, lot longer, 15 years before you, somebody could have just started out here when you did, but we all have stories,
Yeah.
and we learn from those stories. I can say, oh man, I went to do that perk test, and this happened, that I wasn't expecting that. I mean, what did you do in that situation? There's
always
things that we can learn from each other, just exactly like what you're saying, sharing a transaction
right.
that, something happened in, or went smoothly, or it almost blew up when I got to the closing table. But yeah, there's so much to be learned just amongst us. And it's like, every time I'm in the room, or with, even if it's just a few of us, oh my God, I could write a book.
Yeah.
And they're all like, yeah, we could write a book with all our stories, some names to remain, is that not
the best? Yeah.
But yeah, you're not gonna, every transaction is gonna be different. So that's why it is like, it opens up a can of worms to go, oh, go teach how to write a purchase and sell contract. Well, are we talking about a farm, 300-acre farm? Are we talking about a condo, a townhome, a residential,
Right.
what kind, there's every situation that you come into is gonna be different. You're not gonna have one buyer alike or one seller alike. But a lot of the things that you learn, you
you're gonna be able to carry on to that next transaction. Oh, I'll make sure, I forgot to tell my buyer about, they could do radon mitigation, or radon testing. If it's over a certain amount, get radon mitigation, whatever. Yeah, so,
Lots of things to know.
yeah. Yeah, we wish that everything was like cookie cut, with each client and it'd be easy to get closed, but that's why our job's not easy.
No, and it's just
And-
not cookie cutter.
Yeah, and that's why buyers and sellers, like, we're the professionals. We've taken a lot of training, we passed a lot of exams, and then get out and start having, you've got 2 transactions under your belt, or you've got 20 plus. But you're learning something
You're learning,
every day. I mean, I always say that, if I get up every morning, I wanna learn something. And if I don't know, I ask.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my broker's license a couple years ago. I still, when they put me in this role, I have to call Bo sometimes. Just wanna double check with you to make sure, answering the agent, correctly. There's nothing wrong with saying you don't know, or let me find out that answer for you.
Yeah, you'll always know.
Because half my brain is wanting to tell you what I would do and I'm like, let me just make sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know, the question, the answer straight away. Sometimes I'm like, let me just double check.
Right.
Put in, so. But it's like you learn something every day. If you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not living, But
Well, thank you very much.
I'm so glad you got in here today. And yeah, just check out our marketing calendar, that comes out, because there's a lot of good little nuggets. I don't know if you've seen Dustin's CMA class.
No, that would be.
I think it's on my orientation tracker checklist thing.
Okay.
I got 3 more on there that I need to do.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff happening in this office. And you come in here some days and you look around, it's like, whoa, it's really buzzing, we got different things. Then you come in some days, there's not so many people here or whatever, but we have such great space, great people. Great team of people that, have their doors are open all the time, and especially having our title company here and mortgage company.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this space is here for you to come in and learn.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right, have a good rest of your week.
You too. Hopefully it'll be warmer starting tomorrow again. No more 40s, thank you.
It's funny, I don't know. It is weird when you don't know if anyone's on, YouTube. It's like, because I would like to see. I liked it when her let me see.
You still know if you're talking to yourself or someone else.
Well, yeah, and I can say hi, I mean, like, there could be one person there, and I could say, hey, Julie,
So they feel like they're
glad,
part of it.
glad you're there with us or whatever. So yeah, I don't know if there's, on the live stream, if there's one person or 20 or none,
You never know, Deondra, it's a surprise.
That's right. No telling who could be watching me. Oh, man.
Goodness. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
And Bill, the front of the building for this Google business, I guess you have to verify your location.
It's funny because I don't remember, but maybe they started that after I set mine up. Because when you were saying that, I was like,
I know,
I don't remember going outside then.
I worked, it's like a couple weeks ago that I started it, and I was like, and then I just kept forgetting to film the outside, so I'm gonna do it today.
That's so strange. Yeah, I think when I was in Nashville, actually during the summer, is when I was like. So I started building it out, and it's, kind of let me, pretty quickly to start adding like photos, whatever photos on there too.
Yeah.
They never asked me to go do a video where I'm at right now.
That's what I'm doing right now.
That's wild. I wonder when they added that.
It's so weird. Oh, let me ask one more question.
Yeah.
Here. So, I came up with an LLC, so, and opened a business account, so that when I get hey, if I can go right into that.
Okay.
You can keep it. And I like the LLC name and I created like a little logo.
Uh-huh.
So, as an agent that's independent and not on a team, can I like have my own business name and put that on marketing materials as long as like the Keller Williams information and brokerage stuff is there? Like-
Yeah, if you come up with a logo and wanna email it to me,
Yeah.
just
Okay, yeah,
say, is this okay?
right,
or
and
whatever.
it's just an idea.
Most of the time it is, it's like, when you do like overlapping, or you make yours a whole lot bigger than.
Right.
Keller Williams, you can't read.
Right,
down.
right.
So, I mean, but there's not a whole lot.
Okay,
You know,
I'll send you a picture, and obviously it's not laid out as it would be on a sign or a card, I just was trying to get the colors and the font and the picture.
okay, but who's gonna see, I mean, is this anything for business card or marketing?
I don't, well, I haven't done anything but signs, like,
Oh, you're-
like for signs in the future, cause I don't have it,
Okay,
right, you have to buy your own. Right, and I just was thinking like.
so if you got a listing today, you need. sign-
Yeah.
Yeah, let me share with you. I think that it will have been.
Yes, yeah,
But I'll forward you an email, or help me, 'cause I just came here in September,
yeah,
and I hadn't yet had any signs made. And the guy that dealt with it was great,
it's great, okay,
I mean, everybody will have somebody, oh, I deal with,
yeah, but this is
first
great,
or whatever. But he already knows our logo,
okay.
has
Right.
it,
But yeah, for business cards, because like, I like this, but I'd like to have like I don't know how I would do it, but it's like I
No,
love
you-
the color and the thing.
absolutely can
And
use
like,
your logo.
be like Emily Westford Vale Homes, KW, whatever, I don't know how that would work, so I'll just send it to you.
Yeah,
You can-
yeah, once you start design, or if you're having somebody do it, or you're doing it yourself, once you start designing something. You get close to where,
Yeah,
this is the way I want my sign to look,
okay.
You can
okay.
send it to me, and just say,
Absolutely.
is this cool, before I go have sign made,
Right, because I didn't wanna be like, I know it's like Keller Williams, right, it's like, it's a brand, it's the brokerage,
Mhm.
but we are supposed to be our own brand.
And I will tell you, you probably already know this, but, don't use just Keller Williams, use Keller Williams Commonwealth,
Yes,
because that's us.
us
That's,
specifically, yes,
Right, yes, we're Keller Williams, brokerage.
but not the one, the other, right, there's blue.
So that logo, that
Okay.
KW Commonwealth, use that, probably the logo. And. It's. And Bo had said before, I thought, the really was, that Keller Williams needs to be a little bit bigger than the person. Than the agent. But then, one time I was proving
Yeah,
someone's, and Bo was like, yeah, as long as it's not.
Like-
As long as it's not, as long as it's the same size, and that looks like the same size,
right, exactly.
he was like, it's no big deal,
And
but it was something.
Yes.
Like something that was
Really
strong in their
big,
logo,
yeah.
and it was overlapping,
Right.
something to do with the color.
Totally.
So that's a.
Right, so you have to kind of make sure it's.
You do kind of have to make it, separate.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, not like any huge, I don't know, it just send it to me.
That's great, cause I like to.
Yeah, like I said,
colors
before
and,
you have signs
Yeah.
made or,
Card or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
Exactly.
Thank you, cause
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and like Best Ferndale Homes is the name, the Best Ferndale LLC is for my business, but then I did DBA. And I was saying to my husband, I came up with this idea, I was like, I don't wanna, like, I'm not a brokerage and I'm not trying to be a brokerage, but I
Right.
can have like I just don't wanna be the Emily Paquette, like,
Okay.
I wanna be like the Emily Paquette with, right, at
Right.
Keller Williams. Or-
I mean, you have that with teams where it's like,
Yeah, Cattlesburg,
I know that's the group or a team.
but they have their own branding
But
and
yeah,
like thing.
you've got singular,
Yeah.
independent, agent or, individual
Yeah.
agents.
Yeah.
That have logos. I've got one, I mean, if you wanna look at one of mine, it's no big deal, but, it was just like this. You know how scope, like a gun?
Yes, yes.
I've got that.
Yes.
I did it, like I designed it a long time ago. And it just said, it has my name,
Yes.
but it has homes, farms, land, or something
Yes,
like that,
yes,
but
right,
it was my kind of, whatever.
Motto or
Yeah,
tagline.
you're right.
Just sort of like, I don't know, it's kinda fun, it's kinda. Just interesting, it's a creative piece and it's like, I like.
Yeah, and it explains
You.
that, oh, Emily's not trying to say this is her.
Right, I'm not a
brokerage.
broker,
If
and
you
I
see
said,
right there,
right,
this
this
is what
is-
Williams talking about
right.
is on there.
Right, but.
She's
I'm
just
available.
an agent, that's
Yeah,
her.
so, right,
You know,
my business,
exactly.
Okay, I'll send it to you. Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
pick it up a little more.
Okay.
Thanks again.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate you being here.
I appreciate all the info. No, Yeah, it is true, I just looked at the clock and I was like, it's 2. I think it's past where I'm supposed to be eating. Oh, it's so gray, I want that sunshine to come back. Tomorrow, I know, every day's been a little warmer, like, whoo, 48. I don't feel like 70. We were spoiled, you know. I had president, we were driving to school today, and the sun's like, I don't know, I lost them. Trees are really sad, right now, people my age, so nothing about like, shredding up and making it yellow. That wasn't like destroying the fruit grass. So. Maybe it's it's on the cross. Schools canceled yesterday. Kids have been home more than they've been at school, I feel like this year. Crazy. Yeah, that's like the negotiations. And it's like, you know, another code. Maybe it's a ice system. Here for us. So, but my kids start driving me crazy. And I'm like, yeah, let's. Wanna do something. Yeah. That's. Very good. Well, yeah. At least it's like it's not, it's full of actually. Working on project, at least they. So like that. Whatever. And just be like, okay, doing this, I want to do this, now I'd rather do this. But you're gonna go. Yeah. I'll be like, okay, I'm focused on a big thing. But we just accomplish it, even more of this, right, to look, because I know this is not, I know it's on a yes. 15 minutes times 5, right? Right, and 5 minutes. So, but. Or right. Like, they are. Right, but